These are the 3 things I wished I had known before I bought my first condo. Although I made 200k accidentally, if I had known these 3 things, I would have made at least 500k more. Do you feel like you want to invest in a property but not sure if you have covered everything? Sure, you've done your sums and even got confirmation from the bank that this is the loan amount you can take. But this is just the first step. Buying a property is easy, but if you do these 3 things which I will be going through, you can be certain that you'll be able to reap much more profits. Hi, my name is Lil and I've been a property agent for the last 30 years, and I'm also a property investor myself. I've also helped hundreds of homeowners make 6-figure returns in their property transactions. At the end of this video, you will learn how you can avoid the unnecessary mistakes which cost me $500,000 in profits. So let's get started. In fact, I'm quite embarrassed to say that how I bought my first property is purely by accident. It's not because I'm so smart or I was able to predict the market or anything like that. At the time, I was marketing a 2-bedder condo on the ground floor, and for 3 months, I didn't even have a single offer. Now, I've observed this thing about ground floor units. They are really quite unique. So let's say that there are 10 buyers looking for a 2-bedder apartment in that condo. So out of these 10 buyers, right, 8 of them will want a mid to high floor unit. But only 2 out of these 10 buyers are specifically looking for a ground floor unit. Because it appeals to a very niche group of buyers like people who have pets or people who just like the very grounded, landed kind of feel. So I was feeling very worried that the apartment, was not sold after 3 months. Then one day, the seller said to me, "Wow, so long already, still no buyers. Why don't you buy the house? You can buy, ma." Oh, so at the time when he said that to me, I was quite shocked because I wasn't planning to buy any property at that time. Then I said to him, but I already have a place. Oh, then he suddenly shouted, he said, "Please, my new condo TOP already. I really need the money from this house." He looked as if he was going to cry. So in order to calm him down, I said, okay, let me go back and check whether I have enough money or not, okay? So that night I went home, I looked at all my bank accounts, biscuit tins under the bed, any cash or not, checked for any small investments I've forgotten about, like unit trust. And to my surprise, right, after calculation, I had enough money to put down the down payment for this 2-bedder apartment. So I bought the apartment. And this is how I started my property investment journey, which is really by accident. But please don't be like me, because I would never have started if not for this seller, whom I still thank till this very day. Of course, I could have started later also, but then prices would have, really gone beyond what I could afford already. Another point worth noting is this. When I was signing the letter of offer from the bank, right, I was really very stressed and my hands were really shaking because I realized that after coming down with the down payment, I only have 10k left in my account. Please don't do this because it's definitely not the right way to start property investment. Because according to many gurus, we should have available at least 6 months of living expenses in our emergency fund. So the first lesson I've learned is this. Don't wait for external factors to push us to start. I should have been much more intentional and serious about starting to invest in property and not keep putting it off, thinking like, okay, let me have more money first before I think about this, or I'll do it when my income increases, blah, blah, blah. All these excuses, we give ourselves when we don't feel like doing something, because you will end up not starting. And if you're wondering why you should even start investing in property, right? Maybe you can check out my video either here or here, where I'll explain to you how you can build your wealth by starting with only a HDB BTO and end up with 4.3 million when you retire. But the point is, we'll have to start. Let's come to lesson 2. I didn't have a clear exit plan. So after 2 years, after I bought the property, prices started going up. And I set myself a target that if it appreciates by 200k, I will sell it off and reap the profit. So when the property prices increased by 200k, I sold the property. But after selling it, I had no idea what to do. It's not like I am selling it to buy another property which is bigger or in a better location. I just sold it because it seemed like a clever thing to do. The worst thing is I thought I was so smart. A short while after I sold the apartment, I came across a property that was also a 2-bedder in the heart of town and selling at a reasonable price point. I think the property was asking about 950K, and the last transacted was about 930K or so. But having made a bit of money, right, I thought I was very smart, and I offered 900K and refused to budge. What I failed to see was that the property was in a good location, and obviously the seller is very reasonable because he was asking a fair market value, very close to the last transacted price. But I insisted on my price and didn't increase or didn't make any counter offer. I think if I had offered about 930K, right, which was the last transacted price, I'm sure I would have secured the property. But being the smart aleck I was, I didn't offer anything higher and stuck to 900K. And this number is totally arbitrary, and it was just a number I came up with without any good reason. Well then, the seller sold it to another buyer. And when I checked the price a few years later, right, it had gone up to 1.5 million. I still remember the unit number is 0405. It's so sad. But I only have myself to blame for insisting on not paying the reasonable market price. And because of my foolishness, I missed out on this 500K profit. But this is still not the worst mistake I had made. After this failed attempt to buy, I got busy with other things and I didn't look into buying anything. When I looked to buy again about 2 years later, prices have already moved up by 30%. So this is one of the saddest things that happened to me. Please don't make any of these mistakes which I had dearly paid for. Just to recap, number 1, be very intentional about buying properties and plan as early as possible. Maybe you would like to ask yourself some questions like, why do you even want to invest in a condo in the first place? Is it because you can enjoy a better quality of life, use the facilities with the kids so you can have a closer bonding with them during their very precious growing up years? Or is it because you want to have a passive source of income when you retire? Or do you have this irritating friend that keeps telling you, saying things like, hey, why are you still staying in your HDB? You should upgrade like me. And you just want to show this irritating friend that you too can afford to upgrade to a condo. Okay, for this last reason, I don't think it's a very good reason if it's purely driven by emotion. But even if you had come to the conclusion that, okay, you can't afford to buy or upgrade to a private property now, but at least you can plan for how much you need to save. And number 2, have a clear exit plan, not just of how much you want to sell for, but also what you are going to do after you sell. Example, where will you buy next after you sell, and also why? Okay, number 3, don't be emotional like me and just go with the facts and figures. If it is at a fair market price and the property fulfills most of your criteria and you can afford it, just go for it. Sorry, there's one more, number 4. Don't wait to buy property. Buy while you can afford to, because prices may increase so much that it will become unaffordable, or we can get too old and we are no longer eligible to take the required mortgage loan. So if you would like to have a blueprint of how you can build your wealth from having just a HDB BTO to having 4.3 million in retirement funds, watch this video next.